Hello, everyone. This is Catherine Jelinek with the Skinny Platform, and I am thrilled today to be here with Deb Venable, EOS Implementer. And you're going to share more about your amazing nugget, Lead with Love. So, Deb, I'll just hand it right over. Tell us about your nugget.
Sure. Yes, thank you. So lead with love. Very young age. My staunch Catholic mother used to always tell me to always be nice and to never compare crosses. She went on to explain that everybody is carrying some kind of burden, and it may look light to you, but to them it's very heavy. And just stay nice to everyone was kind of her token that she gave us when we were little kids. So if you fast forward that and kind of put that in today's context, it's very similar to the Ian McLaren quote when you say like, be kind, everyone's fighting a battle. So I've kind of taken these words with me to heart, not only from my mother, but from other learnings. And I've realized in all the friendships and business relationships that I've developed that it is quite important. And as an EOS implementer, I'm here to help entrepreneurs, get the most out of their businesses and help them live these great lives. And part of that is to help curate an environment that they can be healthy in. And so I ask teams to talk openly and honestly with one another, treat each other with respect, compassion. And research does show that if we are open to working in a culture where people feel free to express themselves and they have tenderness and care around them, that they're more satisfied with their jobs, they're more committed to the organization, and that they're accountable for their performance. And so in my experience, leading with love is all about doing just kind of three simple things. The first thing is that I enter all my relationships with my own vulnerability and my own kind of imperfections. Well, I've seen a lot of things over the course of my 50 plus years. I don't know it all, and I don't pretend to. So I don't know how much people are fighting behind the scenes or what they're going through because I haven't been through everything. But by dropping my guard and kind of leading by examples and letting other people know it's okay not to be okay, that they don't have to have all the answers, I feel like my teams do come together stronger and better. And that then helps me kind of, push them to challenge the status quo and to just brainstorm new opportunities, kind of get the energy in the room going. The second thing that lead with love for me is that it helps me stay curious. And that's one of the big EOS like kind of mantras is that we really want to make sure that we're staying curious, asking great questions, kind of going for those deep, pointed questions that get people to open up. And most especially to ask people, their why, like, why are you making the decision, or why are you saying that, or what's behind those actions that you've been doing. And so, leading with love also just means to really stay open-minded and stay curious and just keep asking those really great questions. And, I recently had a client that missed quite an important meeting. It was one of their quarterlies, and you kind of get upset and thinking, oh gosh, we have to have the whole team here. But again, why are we missing this meeting? And only to find out that her young son had just been, diagnosed with cancer. And so, of course, the most important place for her to be was with her son and not with me in a session room. So part of that lead with love is to have the compassion to let people, you know, do what they need to do. And I wouldn't have known that had I asked like, what's happening? Why are we missing the meeting? And so again, leading it with a place of just openness. And then the last little segment of leading with love, trying to keep it simple. And the steps of three is I don't bring any judgment into the room or against any team members. And again, going back to my mom, she used to always be very, very staunch with me to say, don't judge people. You just do not know what's going on behind the scenes. You have no idea what their priorities are, what their goals are. Just love them. Just love them. So every client, has a unique cast of characters on their team. And it's not my job to do anything, but just to love them and pull the best out of them that I possibly can. No judgment on any part, anywhere. And as EOS implementers, we want to embrace each of those unique contributions that people have. And we really want to make sure that we can facilitate this open and honest discussion with everybody. I ran a business for over 25 years, and I never made it on the cover of any fancy magazines. But I also never missed a Girl Scout meeting, never missed a hockey game, because that was my priority. And that was the kind of message behind the scene to my employees too. So not mine to judge any of my clients as to where they're going and what they want to achieve. It's just my job as an EOS implementer to guide those teams to the life that they want to live. So again, just keeping this all really focused on leading with love. And the last thing that, was taught at a very young age is that part of leading with love is to show gratitude. And that's another big EOS mantra, is that I found the greatest way to lead with love is just to give gratitude. No matter how rough the session is, no matter how long of a day it was with the clients, I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed to be alive, to do what I love to do every day. I have the opportunity and the ability to work with phenomenal teams, all sorts of different people, all sorts of different businesses and industries. And these people have, most importantly, just taught me so much that I just keep getting to grow and to share with them. And it all starts with just leading with that love.
So much, Deb. I love the 3/4 step way to do something that can feel esoteric and really making it simple and tangible. That first step of beginning, like you're leading with love by leading the vulnerability, like opening that door and stepping out and being a brave example. I love that that's how it starts. It sounds like obvious, but kind of how it has to start. In order to create that dynamic in the room, you have to initiate it.
Yeah, no egos. You got to just let that ego, check your ego at the door when you're doing this, because they want to feel that you're there to just love them, embrace them, help them,
Right.
and get them to where they need to be. No egos.
Allowing that to be powerful. Right.
Yes, absolutely. Even the strongest leaders need a little
That
love.
second step of being curious, you open the space and then you create that I want to know you more. I want to know more about what makes you tick. That you get to their core with that. That's the curiosity and the question mark, but it really is honing in on their heart and what makes them tick, it sounds like. And you can't do that if you don't open up the
Yeah,
vulnerable space to
absolutely.
start with.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And then just keep digging, just keep on asking, why is that important? Why does that trigger you? Why that direction versus a different one? And then sometimes the truth will reveal itself. And, that's when you kind of know maybe what's going on behind the scenes. And then the rest of the team can have, a different perspective on that person or the situation.
Step 3 and how important the non-judgment piece is. I can relate to what you're saying. Upon
Yes,
becoming
very
a
much
mother, I
so.
have a 5 and a 3-year-old. I feel like it's you I feel so passionate about the choices I'm making, of course. And then to sit around and see how everybody does it uniquely and in their own different ways, obviously. And to really finally get to a place where it's like, oh, I see how this dynamic, you and your children, it's a different ecosystem, it's a different family. That's you're leading what's best for you and finding that that core belief of non-judgment is really realizing there's not one path.
No. Yeah, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is different. If that's what makes them happy, then I will guide and work with those teams to get them to what makes them happy and what a good business looks like to them, because there's no shame in just having a really great business that gives you a really great lifestyle and you're not in the limelight. You're not necessarily on the cover of, Fortune 500 magazines, whatever it might be. And if that's your passion, no problem there too. But again, let each of us kind of live the life we want to live without judgment.
Step of appreciation is so key because I feel like reinforcing and sharing what you see and what you feel and what you value, that brings it out even more and keeps that space wide open that you've created. So it's a natural cherry on top and a facilitator of that continued open space.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm always thankful to be in a room with any of my clients, and just appreciative that they've trusted me to help them, and do the best work I possibly can. But I wouldn't be in that room if they weren't there and having the businesses they have. So I'm thankful for everything that they do.
Thank you so much for this, Deb. I really appreciate this succinct way that you can break it down with this, because I feel like it's easy to say things like lead with love, and we hear it more and more these days. But what you've really broken down and the steps of really how to do it, I mean, it's easy to say, but it's much harder to do in terms of
Yeah. And it's not meant to be, this kind of soft, kumbaya kind of like thing that we're grappling around. It's really just meant to say, walk into a room with that vulnerability, that curiosity, that openness, that just no judgment, and just lead with that kind of love, and just let people really all have that experience. Let them all be able to lead with love, and then magic can happen within a room. I mean, if too many people have too many grudges, or they're holding back, or they're not really just speaking their mind, then good work doesn't happen, and we don't achieve the kind of goals that we're trying to achieve. So really just walk into that room with just that glow and that feel of love. Like, I love this team, I love this company, love where we're going. Just, I'm going to make this happen with just leading with love.
I feel like if you don't do the work to create the emotional unlock, then the mental and intellectual unlock isn't going to be at full force. So that's incredible that you've honed in on that and you're doing that to begin your
Yeah.
sessions and keep it open throughout. Fantastic.
Yeah, and there's a ton of articles about this. There's a ton of articles about, creating a really safe place. And again, this is not a soft place. This isn't, giving people excuses or not holding people accountable. This is a place where people to really openly say, I'm not ready for that promotion, or, I'm not able to take on that task or that rock that you want me to achieve, because I've got maybe a big major issue going on at home that I need to take care of, whatever it might be. It's just, again, creating that safe place, but strong, and still a lot of accountability behind it. There's nothing wrong with kind of leading with the love, and then all the accountability follows.
When you're really leading with love and creating a space of vulnerability, it's the absolute opposite of the soft and cushy. It's actually some of the grittiest, edgiest moments of your day.
Yes. Well, you just said that you're the parent of a 5-year-old and 3-year-old, and I have a 23, a 21, and an 18-year-old, and every day I'm leading with love with them, but that's not necessarily the softest love. They know everything every day. Anything I say to them is coming from a place of love. But boy, oh boy, that doesn't mean we don't have tough conversations and butt heads and dig deep. But it's always coming from a place of no judgment, vulnerability, curiosity. We're going to work through this together, versus any kind of adversarial position. So even with my family, it's the mantra. We lead with love, and then we let the hard work kind of work its magic through whatever issue we're trying to solve.
It's not what feels easy or always even fun, but it's the love that's really aligned to the greatest
Never.
outcome for all involved. And you bring that to your family and to the companies you work with.
Yes, exactly.
That's really powerful, Deb.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you
Yes.
for the work you're doing.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, that's a wrap probably on
Thank
Lead
you.
with Love. Is there anything else we missed before we?
No, that's just thank you for allowing me to share my nugget with you and the EOS community and everyone else. So thank you.
Deb, this is fantastic. Take care.
Great. Thank you.
This episode of the Podcast of Nuggets is presented by the Skinny Platform and is released in support of Freedom Reads, a national nonprofit opening handcrafted, curated 500-book libraries in prison cell blocks across America. Freedom Libraries are more than just books. They are lifelines. They bring connection, hope, and dignity to prisons. Learn more at freedomreads.org. Freedom begins with a book.